Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to the podcast, the Tesla Talks podcast. We've got same old people, but new people. And we got a lot on this show today. So let's get right to it. And we got questions at the end. We got so much updates in the Tesla-related world, but also an update regarding the podcast. So for everyone that does want to see our ugly faces, we are now streaming on like audio streaming. So if you want to check this out in the car, just on the banner, if you're watching this at home, folks, and you know, it's probably best to watch it on YouTube because we pull up slides and we talk about certain videos and pictures and stuff. So if you can get a chance to watch it, obviously that's the best, because if you just listen to the audio version, you probably don't know what we're talking about, and then we'll have to describe it to the audio listeners. Makes it a little difficult. But anyways, now you can get it in your Tesla in TuneIn Radio. And of course, if you don't have your Tesla, or if you're not in your car or whatever, you can listen to it on any kind of Apple device on iTunes. So get it there. It's under, just search for Tesla Talks podcast and you'll find it for sure. So before I go any further, before we start, we have to introduce our guests. We're going to introduce the guests that are always here, and then we'll introduce our new guests. So you can see on the bottom, folks. Let's start with Mother Frunker. Say hello.
I have a cool entrance, right? I have the lights that come on, and
as soon as I said that.
Yeah.
How are you doing today, buddy?
All right, still a little bit sick, but a little better.
You sound and look a lot better. We missed you last week.
Yeah. Wish I could have been here, but I still watched it. It was really good. You guys did an excellent job. So
thank you. We just try to do good for you, buddy.
Yeah.
Well. And over to your left or the right of the screen, we have Mark, the Tesla Backseat baller. How you doing, Mark?
Hey, what's going on? I'm doing good. Just let me pour this, and I'm gonna feel a lot better.
Yeah.
I've got when I did my drive down to Tennessee, picked up this Selection Barrel Reunion. You can only get it when you're down there at the distillery. And then to back it up as a chaser, I got a little Budweiser Jim Beam also.
Oh, looks cool.
I don't know
thanks for having me.
I don't know if you caught my comment last week on your video. I swear it's like a drinking channel. You guys are talking.
You did say something to that effect. Let's introduce our last guest. He hasn't been here before, but this is his first and definitely not the last. Anthony TeslaMilton. How you doing, Anthony?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Anthony, for everyone at home, Anthony basically lives down the street from me. He could have been pulled up a chair right beside me. We could have been right here. But thanks for coming on the show, buddy. I appreciate it.
No problem. I did bring my own booze.
Yeah, you know what? We are. I gotta say, folks, we are not alcoholics. If you're not into drinking, I apologize. Take no offense to it, but we all have our drinks. I've got the same drink as last week and the week before.
Not all of us.
Yes. Oh yes.
Not all.
Yes. Well, and it's always hard to do it, guys. For people at home, because I got to think of the audio listeners. People at home, we're all pointing to Franklin. He's under the weather, so he's not having a drink.
I'm drinking ginger ale. Like, it's really good for my throat. So
yeah, it is.
Put some brandy in there, you're all good to go.
Okay, we're 3.5 minutes in. Let's get to our first topic. Unless anyone wants to say anything special before we start up.
Special.
Yeah. I'd like to say something special. The Tesla stocks today were special. Oh wait, that's the first topic. Sorry.
Yes. No. Well, let's go for it. Take this off my ugly face, and let's talk about it.
Right in.
Yes. Yeah.
So I was reading that they dumped. You have the article up. So the Saudi Arabia fund dumped 95% of it.
99.5% of their holding.
Oh, 99.5. Yeah. So they lost like an absurd amount of money.
$4.5 billion.
Yeah. Just by selling it a couple of months early.
That's real.
But you know what? Is it anything to them? I hate to say it. And we were talking about this yesterday on another video. With all this billions of dollars and naming all this money, but the Saudis, is it really worth anything? Is it damaging to them? Will they feel it?
I think it's like less than 10% of their total cash.
Exactly.
Yeah, like it's a drop in the bucket, basically. I mean, it's still a lot of money. Don't get me wrong, but
yeah. Well, it says the fund has $320 billion worth of assets, so it's kind of a drop in the bucket. But
So
obviously, you know, holding on to it for a few more weeks would not have been a bad thing in retrospect.
So I'm guessing your video is going to go live tomorrow. So today, like when we're doing this, the Tesla shares skyrocketed.
Did
the
they
last
ever?
few days? Yeah.
Yeah.
What, probably...
they closed at $107.06, and then after hours they were up about another $17. So after hours is 904.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
and they closed at...
1.19.
What did they close? They closed at 8.98, right?
887.
887 and 6 cents.
Okay, so correct me if I'm wrong. Yesterday on Monday, which was the 3rd, it basically changed. And I'm not a stock guy. You guys know more about this stuff than I do. Anthony we were talking before we started, and he was calling out figures and things that I didn't even understand. But in a nutshell, correct me if I'm wrong, it went up 20% yesterday, and then today it went up another 15.
Yes.
From open to close.
That's
13.73.
Yeah,
almost
it's an absurd
today.
Increase over a short period.
It was up about 23% at one point today. So
yeah,
dropped about 10% at the end.
Oh, jeez, I really thought it was gonna hit 1,000.
So part of so I do invest in stocks, and I read quite a bit about it. 5% of the short sellers today had to cover their short sales, which helped inflate the cost. And then you had people jumping on. There's a lot of positive articles now, finally, saying that, you know, they see it as like $1 trillion company. I think it's a good thing, but it's a negative thing. I think the expectations are increasing much higher than what's possible in the short term. I don't know.
Like too fast, you mean?
Yeah, way too quick. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's hard to say where it's going to go. I mean, I think one of the other reasons why it went up today was there was an investor named Ron Baer, and he said that he thinks that the revenues could reach $1 trillion in the next decade, which is pretty significant if that was to happen.
I did read that.
Yeah. So,
but yeah, it's up 112% since the start of the year. So
I think like something like 5% of all people who were short selling had to cover their shares. So for those who don't fully understand, I'll try to explain it real quick. If you bought the share, if the stock was at $300, let's say, they were borrowing a share from someone at 300, but then they sold it back into the market. And then they're hoping that the share would drop to 200, let's say, and then they'd buy it back and then cover the share that they were borrowing. So they make $100 profit. Because the stock went from 300 up to 900, now they're at a negative $600 loss. So
per share.
Per share. So they're only going to hold a loss for so long before they cover and they pay their share amounts.
And when they pay their share amounts, they're actually buying stock.
They're buying stocks, yeah.
So they're buying it at 900.
Correct. Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
As the price
after selling it for 3, right? So
yeah. So as the price is increasing, the short sellers have to cover their amounts. So they're buying stocks at a higher amount, which is helping inflate the total amount quicker, basically. So we saw 5% of the market today cover, like 5% of the people who are short selling cover just today alone, which is a very large percentage.
So the message is that don't short Tesla stock.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the numbers are insane, though.
Well, it's 36% in the last 2 days alone.
Yeah.
36%.
Yeah,
I couldn't find a company that was equivalent to their growth. Like, we're talking like market cap. Like, you can find the small companies that are like $1 or whatever, and they jump up to like the hundreds.
The penny stocks.
Yeah, but something like Tesla, where they already had a market, and then they skyrocketed like this, it's really, really impressive. So,
yeah,
so it'll be interesting to see where it goes. I'm not sure if it can be sustained or not, because I mean, obviously the realities of the market will have to set in eventually. So if this is a valid repricing of the stock based on the actual, I guess, results of the company and things like that. I mean, it may very well be that the price is simply too low in the past. You know, we've seen the stock down as low as, what, $140 was in the last 12 months. So, you know, it is entirely possible that those prices were dramatically lower than what they ought to be. And that what we're seeing now is simply a readjustment to where they probably should be based on the fundamentals of the company. But at the same time, when people see this, you know, huge rocket type spike in the share price, it does kind of make you wonder how long it's going to be able to maintain that, and whether it's you know, happening for a reason or just happening because people are getting a little overexcited about things. So we'll see, I suppose.
I think it's finally being valued as a tech company rather than just an automaker.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with that. I think people are starting to realize what it is that they offer.
Yeah, definitely.
And what differentiates them from their peers in the automotive market space.
I think they have to grow 10% more to be the #1 automaker in terms of like value. Which is pretty
well, they're
pretty close.
bigger than the Detroit 3 combined.
Yeah.
Well, that's not saying much, seeing what happened to them back in the recession. But no, I hear what you're saying. I mean, it's an impressive feat at the end of the day. Now, you guys, by all means, you don't have to mention this if you don't want to, and I'm not going to go through one by one of you guys. But I'll start by saying I had Tesla shares. I don't anymore, but I'm kicking myself because there's no secret. I'll be fully transparent and open. I sold it because it was just too volatile. Because I'm not a stock person, and it made me nervous for the little time that I did hold it, with it going up and down, like a roller coaster. And I sold it at 280. Now, ask me if I'm kicking myself.
Are you kicking yourself? Yeah.
Rhetorical, guys. Rhetorical. No, I am. Well, I'm not kicking myself. You know, it's the stocks. Like, I mean, if I'd held on to it last June when it was down to $170 or something like that, I think whatever the low was, like, yeah, I would have felt it, and I probably would have panicked then. So I just don't have the stomach for this kind of stuff. That's the bottom line. So if you guys have Tesla stocks and you're long on them, you know, congrats. I was talking to somebody online, and I don't know, I can't verify this. One of the members in my Facebook group was saying that they have 2,500 shares. I did the quick math, and that's like just short of $2 million, and that was as of yesterday. Like I said, I don't know if they do or not. It's not unimaginable, but if they do, and they got in when it was like, what was the IPO?
$20, $22, something like that.
Yeah, it depends when they got in, right? I mean, you can, a fairly small investment can turn into a very large one over time. Obviously, in the case of Tesla, it hasn't really been that long since they IPO'd in the grand scheme. But I mean, stocks go up, and if $40,000 on day one could be $2 million today. It's just a question of which way the stock goes, right? But on the other hand, $40,000 then could also be like zero, right? So.
Here's a big thing.
It goes both ways.
It's going to split.
Splitting, yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, I know some companies don't like to do it because, I mean, when you split, I mean, if you do like say a 5-to-1 split, you're going to, quintuple the number of shares on the market, and that has an impact as well to the business, right? So I mean, you see some companies out there like Amazon is like $2,500 a share, and they don't want to split because they don't want to split. So I think it's one of those things where, as an investor, I'd like to see it because, if I have X number of shares at $900, and then they do a 5-for-1 split or something like that, and I'm going to have X times 5, right? But the benefit of shares from a retail investor perspective is it allows you to get in at a lower price, and then if the stock continues to go up. And I've experienced this with Apple because I've owned Apple stock since 2004, and I've been through 3 splits, I think. And I've obviously got substantially more shares now than I did when I bought them, simply because of the splits, and yet the value of those shares is substantially more than it was before all of the splits. So it can work really well as long as the stocks continue to go up, but I think from a business perspective, there's a lot of things that they need to think about.
I can't
before they would actually do it. Right?
I think it's too short for the stock hasn't been that high for a long period of time, long enough for them to do the split either. Like we're talking 48 hours for this thing to skyrocket, right?
To blow up, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but I mean, even before, I mean, last year, it was, I mean, last year's low I think was 179, but it was around 300. 350 for a while there, and even at that high, I mean that's a level where a lot of people won't get in, right? If you want to buy 100 shares at $350, that's a $35,000 investment, right? So, a lot of people aren't necessarily willing to take that bet. Whereas if it was $50 or $100, then maybe they would. So.
And that's what I mean. Like someone like me now, or maybe Dax wants to get back in it, but like at $900, no. But if it goes back to 200, okay, you know what?
Well, Mark, I said that on Friday when it was 650, and I'm like, no. But if I had done it on Friday, and I would have thought I was an idiot, but if I had done it, I'd be laughing today. It's gone up 35% since Friday.
Yeah.
So
yeah, well, I mean, you never know, right? I mean,
you never know.
The way I look at Tesla, I mean, I don't have a lot of Tesla stock. I mean, certainly nowhere near what the guy on Facebook said. You know, I have a very moderate position in Tesla, but the money I put into it, which was last year, is about a little bit over a year since I bought the stock. And the way I looked at it was money that I was willing to lose if that was to happen. It's not that I want to lose it, but it wasn't enough money to say, okay, well, you know, if I lose this, I'm like screwed and I can't retire ever. You know, I'm not going to risk my retirement savings on a stock like Tesla, not because I don't believe in the company or their mission, but simply because that money is too important to me for other things.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, I get it.
However,
it's like you go into the casino, really.
Yeah, exactly. However, you know, I did have some money in my retirement savings account that was from some stock dividends that I've been receiving over the few years. So I figured, okay, I'll take that, you know, because it was kind of like free money in a sense. You know, it was money given to me by companies that I have shares in through dividends. So I figured, okay, well, I'll take that money and I'll buy as many Tesla shares with that money as I can. And it wasn't a lot, but, you know, it was a reasonable amount. And, you know, I'm happy because it's gone up enough that in theory, if I was to sell them today, I'd probably be able to buy myself a Model X. But, you know, that's today, right? Tomorrow, I mean, you know, it was up $150, $200 in the last 2 days. I mean, a week from now, it could be $600 again. So who knows, right?
And that's how it is. Yeah.
See,
yeah, no,
I think like the company, I invested into Tesla mainly because I believe long term. I believe in not just the mission, but like they are the leaders with battery tech and technology. So I think long term, I only invest in companies I believe in. So I won't touch Facebook, for example, despite knowing that I could have made good money on it. Like I understand their financials and stuff like that, and Dax is laughing, but
because I know what other company's coming next.
There's just certain companies I won't invest in, right? Because they don't correspond with what I believe in, and I think Tesla has such a large range. Mark, Tesla has such a large gap on the competition right now, and it's like you got to see long term. You got to see where their position is, and I think long term it's a great investment, right? So
you're absolutely right.
Oh, for sure, yeah. And I mean, I think the thing I would say is like if I was younger, then I would view it differently, right?
Yeah,
and it's not like, you know, I mean, I have you know, backstops on my holdings, so that if it drops too fast, I'll get out, right? But again, if I was your age, you know, it would be okay because I could say, you know what, I'm going to go off and, you know, buy 500 shares over a period of a few years and hold on to them for 20 years, right? Because I don't need that money for another 20, 25 years. But, you know, when you're my age, you know, I can't afford to lose money because I don't have time to wait for it to recover. Right?
Yeah, it makes sense.
I think that's the difference, right?
Yeah. No,
okay, guys.
Sense.
You know what? It's an interesting topic and conversation, and I want to bring it up first and foremost because it's top of mind and it's what's happening currently this week. But we're almost 20 minutes in, and we haven't moved over to our other topics. We could have a whole show just about this, but let's move on. Yeah, I know we should. And you know what? If next week at this time, it's in the thousands or cross over 1,000 and still
even
good.
Even over $1,000, I'd be like, whoa, baby.
Yeah,
like
we may have a
plaid mode, baby. Plaid mode stock.
I'll get the live stream back up if it hits over 1,000. Okay.
Yeah, so let's move on. We're moving on to, and this won't be quick. We talked a lot about the Model Y last week, and all the stuff that came out with the earnings call and stuff like that. But one of the things that we touched on briefly was the trims and the model, the trim levels that are coming out, the versions, which was the performance and the all-wheel drive. Those ones, obviously, just, you know, like Tesla usually does. I know they didn't do it with the Model 3, but usually what they do is they sell the higher price ones first. And a lot of people were concerned that that they put an order in for the the long-range rear-wheel drive, and it didn't show up in the configurator anymore. And my take on it last week was, you know what, like I said, they're just going to sell the higher price versions now, and they'll start to release that one you know, maybe 6 months down the line or a year down the line, whenever. But thinking about it in the last week, I'm thinking they may not bring out this this rear-wheel drive long-range version, because what I forgot is they stopped making it for the Model 3. They slowly phased it out. I remember they did it, one of those, it was off menu. You could get it, but it was off menu, and now you can't even get it at all. The only one you can get, correct me if I'm wrong, is it's the entry level one, obviously, is the SR, the SR Plus, and then goes into the all-wheel drive. What do you guys think? Do you think that they're actually going to make a long range?
Rear-wheel drive, you mean? I don't think
long range.
No. Again, the fact that it's off the menu now completely, I think they're going to just not even bother with it. Now, anyone that's placed an order, are they going to fulfill it? I mean, Tesla usually is pretty good at that, so maybe they will, or they'll
I think they would have
some sort of upgrade.
Yeah, because people are going to get annoyed.
We'll get you into this. People always get annoyed, though. It doesn't matter. You cannot please everyone.
Well, yeah, but it's a bit different when you're, you know, I mean, it's not just like the Cybertruck where you're slapping $100 down and saying, okay, well, you know, throw my name in the bucket, and you know, when the time comes, let me know. I mean, these people have ordered this vehicle, right? I mean, they've configured it, they've ordered it. They're expecting to get that car. Right?
See, that's the difference.
Anthony, did you pre-order the Model 3 before, like, you know, when it was, what, a year or two when they first did it? Did you put a pre-order for that?
A reservation for it, but I didn't order it. Right? There's a difference to me.
Yeah,
anyway.
but that's kind of the same thing. You put some money down on it, and you're waiting how long for it?
No, ask Franklin, because he orders like 4 of them or something.
So there's a difference. There's the Model 3 was a reservation. I put $1,000 in. I reserved a spot to configure the car. The Cybertruck is the same thing. You put $100 down, you're in a spot to configure the car. The Model Y was an actual order agreement.
It was.
So it was $3,200 down for each one, and I got an actual order agreement. So they've agreed to sell me that car with those configuration at that price.
Yes. You're absolutely right, Franklin. The only thing that may have changed, not that your agreement has changed contractually, but now since last week after the earnings call and they updated the configurator and stuff like that, now in the States, at least, not here in Canada, now you can get it for $100 apparently. So I don't know if that once again is a reservation or an order. I'm guessing it's an order.
Well, they changed their order deposit in the US to $100 for all the cars, right?
Oh, is that what it is? They just uniformed it with the rest. Okay, and I know that's non-refundable.
See, here's the thing. I'm not a lawyer, and I haven't gone through the fine print detail. I'm sure there's somewhere in there that says they can modify and adjust and whatever. So my long-range rear-wheel drive might not actually come to fruition. It might be all-wheel drive instead. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, it's fully refundable, though.
Pardon?
The deposit is.
It's fully refundable. That $3,200.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I mean, they could say, "Hey, we're not making this model. We're going to refund your money if you don't want it." Right? I mean, they can go down that path too.
They'll obviously.
I think they probably will make it.
Oh, will. You think they will?
I think they will. I think what they're doing now is, you know, people will order what's presented. Right? So if you want a Model Y and you go to the configurator now, you have a choice of either the all-wheel drive or the performance. So if that's the only options you have, as long as it's not a financial concern, then you're going to order what's there, right? You're not going to order, you know, something else. So to me, I think it's one of those things where, you know, the all-wheel drive and the performance are going to be the highest margin versions of the vehicle. They're going to be the ones they want to sell first. And I suspect it's going to be similar to what they did with the Model 3, where the SR Plus eventually came along, where, you know, they start off with the higher price ones and then they gradually start to introduce the lower price models later.
Yeah.
When production capacity is ramped up. So I think we will eventually see a long range, but it's not going to be the first ones off the line. You're going to see all-wheel drive and performance for, you know, some period of time. And
we'll have to wait and see.
Long range will show up.
We'll have to wait and see. Like, you're right. And I after you guys talking, I'm maybe a little more convinced that the long range rear wheel will show up, like I was thinking last week. But just after a while, last week I was thinking maybe it wouldn't. But anyways, moving on. Speaking of rear wheel drive, sorry, do you have something to add, Mark?
Yes, actually, by the agreement, your vehicle is priced and configured based on features and options available at the time of order. and you can confirm the availability with the Tesla. Options, features, or hardware released after you place your order may or not be included or available for your vehicle.
Okay, so they put their little out there.
Rear-wheel drive, yeah.
Well, I mean, not really, because at the time of order, that was what you were made. That was what was made available to you, right? So
that was your agreement, yeah.
We'll have to wait and see.
We'll see, right?
We'll have to wait and see about that. What we don't have to wait and see is the ride-sharing app, because I'm hearing that they're going to release it before FSD is actually available.
Right.
Which,
yes,
I think's a really good thing.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see where it gets launched, because I mean, you're looking at the electric articles. So
I have a guess.
They're basically saying about California, right? Well, because they said they're going to do their own insurance, and right, there's the only place the insurance is available in North America is in California. So
that's correct. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it might be. As a Canadian, I look at this and think, okay, it's going to be like Apple Pay. You know, like it comes out in the U.S. and 2 years later, Canadians get it. So, you know, I tend to suspect that it's great that it will be coming before FSD, because that might be a while.
See, is it possible that they say, hey, you can get your own insurance, check out these ones, blah, blah, blah? Because, I mean, ultimately, it's just like it's just an Uber, but for Tesla drivers, basically is all it is. And
no, I think they want to keep that all in-house because they're creating it. So I think even the insurance, they want to be able to CYA, cover your own ass.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to be one of those things where until they offer the insurance in your region, the ride sharing won't be available in that region.
Yeah, it makes total sense because they're going to go hand in hand, right? They're going to be partnered together. Yeah, but it'll be interesting. Like, and the topic came up today when this topic came up offline, and I was saying to a friend of mine, I don't know if it was you guys, I can't remember. Speak to you guys so sporadically throughout the day, I forget sometimes, that I would give it a try. Like if the insurance was there for it, or if they allowed us to do it with our own insurance, like how Uber and Lyft can do it with certain insurance companies, I'd give it a try. I wouldn't quit my day job to do it, but I'd give it a try. Would you guys?
Yeah,
I would, but yeah, I definitely would. But I think regardless of whether it's in our area or not, though, I think it's still a good thing for Tesla overall. Because you have people getting in cars now that they never did before. Well, I'm big now. Do you have people getting in cars now that were never in Teslas before? Because they're going to try it. It's a ride-sharing service, so people are more likely to be like, oh, I'm going to go buy one now. Maybe not to that extreme, but
no, I think you're right.
Tesla gets to test out their software beforehand, before FSD comes, so they can like fine-tune it and stuff. So one less problem overall.
Yeah, butts in seats is definitely what you want to be seeing. So if it gets butts in seats, then that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Even if they're not in the driver's seat, but you know, that's fine.
Yeah, no, I can rent a Tesla now too. Because before I bought mine, but it's fairly expensive. It's like $300 a day.
Oh yeah, you can get them on Turo. Renting a Tesla.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Turo here, yeah, you can get it. No, it all depends. Like when I was going down to LA, we were looking at some that we were going to rent on Turo, and some of them were $80. Some of them were $150 a day. It all depends on the, like, I mean, if you had the performance one or if you just had the SR Plus or stuff like that, and what the allotment for mileage and stuff like that. And then there's a good company here in Canada, at least around the east part here in Toronto area and Montreal, called Evoto Rentals. They rent out Teslas, and they do a very good job of it, and they're very successful.
Yeah, very good things about that.
Yeah, moving on, folks. Speaking of Teslas and rear-wheel drive, we were talking about earlier and stuff like that. Did you guys hear about this one? The Dyno Mode that got released? And all
I heard about it. That's what it is.
Shenanigans. Yeah, like I think one of you guys said earlier today that they're definitely right now they're in the works of trying to patch this because there's just too many. You don't think so?
Though they put this out on purpose.
Oh no! It's no. Don't get me wrong, Mark. I'm not saying it's a glitch or anything like that. But it's obviously a development tool or developer tool that they used for dyno testing. I get that, right? But it wasn't supposed to be released to the masses. It was.
I think they're going to change. Yeah, they're going to change the code. They're going to change the pin.
October 7, 2019, it was deployed to the entire Tesla fleet.
Yeah. No, I'm not saying it wasn't a mistake or anything. Yeah, it was intentionally deployed, but not for how people are using it.
No, but for all users. But
I don't know about that.
No.
Watch this
Tesla,
guy.
Tesla Inc.
As you're talking, yeah.
It actually did it. I was reading the article about it from actually Tesla Inc.
Yeah. This is what's gonna if they keep it in. I don't know if you guys can see this video as I'm playing it. This idiot goes on a ramp, and I'm sorry if you're watching this and you're the driver. I feel sorry for what happened to your car. I don't mean to call you an idiot, but listen, you got to have you got to take some kind of responsibility after it tells you clearly with all the stuff that comes up on the screen. It tells you, do not use this, and then you go ahead and use it on a public road, and you spin out within seconds. What are you showing me there, Mark?
Can you actually, you know what? Can you pull this up? Can you go to Tasmania?
Okay. For people at home, I just showed a video of somebody spinning out. You've probably seen it already. They had the Dyno Mode enabled, and they spun out. Yeah, go. What is it?
I just texted it to you.
Okay.
It'd probably be easier if you do that.
So you
guys talk.
I think
so why I sent this to you, this guy is actually, it's a guy in China, and he's demonstrating the Model 3 drifting. So this is really cool for drifting. And I have a rear wheel drive long range, and I drifted it today.
You did, yeah.
Yes. So there's a video. If you just scroll down a little bit more, and you'll play a video. Just turn the volume down because it's pretty. You play some really loud music.
Is this Chinese or Japanese? Do you want me to translate for you?
Chinese.
Okay. Sorry, I can't translate Chinese.
Right
is it Mandarin or Cantonese? I'm just joking.
Mandarin is mainland China's Mandarin.
So why? This is pretty cool. Like, look at this drift.
Hold on. Sorry, can you guys hear that? I'm gonna mute the volume.
Yeah, it's really loud. Yeah, it's really loud. Yes. I told you. I warned you before. But look at that. If you know how to drive this, and I'm not saying I'm an expert or anything, but I'm just saying, if you know how to drive this, it can be fun. That's why, again, he's doing it on a track. Don't do it on the streets. Don't.
No, I agree. And for people watching and not listening and not watching, you got to check out the video on YouTube and follow us, and you'll see the video that I just played.
I think part of the problem is this went into the, like, I know what Mark's saying. It's not a glitch or anything. It's like a built-in feature where they can enable. But the problem is it went out to the public, and the public's abusing it, like we saw in the first video where the guy took it on a street, right?
Yeah, and I don't think it was supposed to go to the public.
No,
it was supposed to go to shops.
Yes, no, it is. I'm telling you right now, the feature that enables access to our Dyno Mode for all users. It's in Tesla Inc.'s thing. So why I disagree with you, Franklin, because we have autopilot, and there's people that have abused that too. So should Tesla go and stop it?
I mean,
people are doing like the water bottle trick. They're doing like the stupid orange.
That's slightly different, though.
Else. No, it's not.
Sure, because autopilot's made to be on the road on regular streets where this is not, right?
Okay, but again, so if somebody takes it on the street, that's not Tesla's fault. They didn't intend to make it for people to take it on the street. They gave it to, if you want to dyno test your car or you want to track it.
Yeah. Okay, so I just wanted to see if you guys saw it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, okay. I get it.
Have any of you guys been a performance Model 3?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so when you turn on track mode, it also says do not use on city streets.
Yes.
It's 11 o'clock. My lights turn off automatically, so I gotta turn them back on.
That's happened to mine. Now I'm adjusting the color.
It's 11 o'clock. Do you know where your lights are? For everyone at home that is under the age of 30, probably might not get that. Franklin, you may not even get that.
Yeah,
did you get that?
No, I don't get that. I'm under 30.
Okay, folks, let's move on. We're trying to keep this podcast under an hour. The next topic is going to be something that Anthony wants to talk about.
I'll be back.
Okay.
Anthony left.
Yeah, maybe we'll come back.
Anthony has lights. Okay.
Okay.
Technology, man. It's great to live.
I hear you. So Anthony wanted to talk about, you know, just the incentive programs or just how incentives work for the public.
Well, it's a bit more than that. I mean, no, this is something different. I mean, you know, I've been thinking about this for a while, right? And I guess the way that I think about things is that in order for the average person to stop doing the default behavior, which we've all done for our whole lives of, you know, buying a gasoline car and, you know, driving around polluting and idling and all that stuff, it's really going to take a really fundamental change of mindset in the average person, right? I mean, we're not average people when it comes to this subject, right? I mean, we're early adopters, we're techie types. We've made a point of buying this car for, you know, whatever our reasons are, but we're not, you know, the average person, right? I mean, you know, I look at people who live on my street, for example. I mean, there was a guy down the road, came over to see me in the summer, asked me a few questions with the car, sat in it, liked it, all that stuff. And I said, you know, you guys should think about getting an EV, you know, next time you buy a car. And he's like, well, my wife doesn't like electric cars. I said, well, why not? He's like, I don't know. She just doesn't. It's like, okay.
That's stupid. That is stupid.
And, you know, I got a guy lives across the street from me. You know, he's never asked me one thing about Tesla. He's a BMW guy, loves his BMWs. The only thing I've ever heard about him talking about my car is apparently he told another one of my neighbors that my car broke down in the winter because he saw the Tesla mobile service van in front on the day that they were putting my snow tires on the car, right? So, you know,
it did break down.
I'm not talking about, yeah. But I'm not talking just about my neighbors, but I'm just thinking, like, if you look at the average person on the street, I mean, they don't know anything about electric vehicles. They hear what they hear, you know, they hear a bunch of misinformation on the radio, they read a bunch of misinformation in the media, and it's not enough for people like us to try to solve that problem. I mean, we can do what we can do by talking to people. I mean, I met with a guy today, spent a couple hours, you know, talking to this guy who came up to me in a parking lot recently asking me about the car, and we sat down, we talked, I took him for a drive, he really liked the car, and he'll probably end up getting one. But, you know, that's one guy. Right. I mean, there's millions and millions of people out there who are driving gasoline vehicles, and it's, you know, it's going to require more than just faith in mankind or whatever you want to call it to get this done. Right. And so, I mean, my opinion is, you know, the government really needs to step up and start doing a lot to educate people about the realities of owning an electric vehicle, and really start to, you know, make the incentives really appealing, right? I mean, $5,000 federally is fine. It's better than nothing. But, you know, all these stupid limitations, you know, it can't be over $55,000 and the car's got to have a $45,000 or lower option first and all this other bullshit, right? I mean, that needs to stop. You know, they need to just say, you know what, if you're really going to be serious about this, then be serious about it. You know, don't give people $5,000, give them $20,000, right? Take some of that money that you're dumping into the oil and gas industry every year.
So it's funny you say that because I just had a conversation with someone
Did you
last
just say,
week.
hey, Siri?
No, it beeped. I said, I'm serious, and it went off. So
Sorry, Franklin, go ahead.
I was saying I had a conversation with someone last week who said when the incentive was $14,000, it was way too much. All it was doing was helping rich people. And I'm like, no, that's not what it's for. Like, there's a lot of cars that you can get that are, you know, priced properly. With the $14,000, it's really helpful. You get more EVs on the road, and they didn't buy it. They're like, oh, it's only there to help rich people get cars. Yeah. And, you know,
right? and that's, you know, that's kind of what I'm talking about. I mean, you have to think there's that mentality that has to be overcome, right? I mean, there's always going to be, you know, I mean, a bunch of people who are, you don't want to give that to rich people. You know, well, I mean, you know, the government in this country is given like $50 or $60 billion a year in fossil fuel subsidies of one form or another. Now, I mean, a lot of those are, you know, necessary. There's things like tax breaks for people who live up in the Northern Territories on diesel fuel. You know, they need the generators to heat their homes and to run their lights. So, you know, nobody's saying, oh yeah, okay, you switch all that off. But, you know, I mean, even if, you know, a quarter of that money was, you know, reallocated to, you know, electric vehicles, I mean, you know, just take 10 or $15 billion of that. Stop giving it to whoever you're giving it to. Stop using it to subsidize the price of gas and all this other nonsense, and start using it to really make a difference. You know, make it so that it's stupid to buy a gas car, right? Make it so that no person in their right mind would actually go buy a gasoline car because the government incentives to buy an electric vehicle are so damn good that you'd be idiotic to buy one, right? And that's not where we're at now. I mean, I walk my daughter to school every day. I see all these people driving the kids around. They're sitting in the car. They're running the engines for 10 or 15 minutes in the morning to warm the engine up. I mean, they don't give a crap, right? This is what they've been doing their entire life, right? I mean, we've all done this, right?
I don't think it's I don't even want to say in fairness to them, but for lack of a better word, in fairness to them, I don't think that it's so much that they don't give a crap. It's just that they don't know any better. They don't know what they don't know, right? And that's what you're saying about your neighbors and Franklin when he had the conversation last week. It's the ignorance it's willful ignorance, or even whether it's just regular ignorance that they just don't know what's out there. And this is why, I mean, the four of us or whoever is listening to this, we're probably preaching to the choir, right? I mean, it's people that we need to get out this message out to that people that have this opinion or have this ignorance and don't know any better, that okay, there's going to be a few that you can't change your mind. They're just set in their ways and you can't change your mind, whether they're big oil or they work for them or they have a family member to work. Those people, yeah,
Mark,
they're going to die. But the other people that like you said, your neighbor that made this stupid assumption your car was broken down because you're putting tires on, like that to me sounds like someone you can speak to, right? And
yeah, but I think the thing is, it's not even so much ignorance. It's just that it's literally conditioning, right? I mean, like I mean, all of us.
Oh,
right?
we are conditioned. Yes.
10 years ago, I mean, none of us would have thought about buying an electric vehicle because, I mean, why would we do that, right? I mean, our entire life, and our parents' entire lives, and probably a good chunk of their parents' lives too, gasoline vehicles and gasoline use has just been, it's simply the way things function, right? It's not something we don't even think about it, right?
No, people are scared. I get it all the time. It's like, how do I charge? Where do I go? If I'm on a trip, what do I do if I'm on the road? And I tell you that I can actually talk to anyone about this because these are the concerns I had. Okay,
we all did. Probably all did.
Right, but those people are actually thinking about it.
6,000 kilometers a month. I travel outside of my comfort zone. And that's why I was worried at first. Like, okay, how can I get to Kingston? How can I get to Sudbury? How can I get to Whitbur? Where can I charge? And I found ways.
It's interesting because I was talking to someone else during that same launch conversation. Someone goes, what's the best EV that's not a Tesla? Something more affordable. And I was just like, well, if you want to go long distances, Tesla's the way to go because of their charging. And I know we're going to talk about charging next, so it kind of ties in. But I was like, yeah, Tesla's, I was explaining to her how the superchargers work and stuff like that. She's like, no, I just want to stay local. I'm like, oh, you have plenty of options then. And she was really interested in just an electric vehicle, not necessarily a Tesla. And when she started learning about how it charges and how she doesn't have to worry and stuff like that, she's like, oh, I can buy an affordable car that's,
Yeah, see, that's it. We just have to turn on that light bulb in people's heads that they honestly and innocently don't know. They just don't know. And just maybe a little bit of a segue.
It's not our. We can't do it, right? There's not enough of us. We need the government. Like, it's a government level problem.
Oh,
right?
I agree.
And it's not even the people who are asking about it. Like, the people who are asking these questions, even if the questions are based on misinformation, at least they're thinking about it, right? But the problem is there's like millions of people who weren't even thinking about it and will never think about it because their entire existence is based on this preconceived notion of what a vehicle is. And to me, that's the problem. The government needs to solve that problem by making driving a gasoline vehicle undesirable, right? For everybody, right? I'm not talking about promoting Tesla. I'm just saying, like, you need
EVs
to,
in general.
Like, because it's, there's certain problems that are so big that only governments can fix them, right? And those are normally problems or things that affect entire populations of countries, right? So, I mean, we can be on Twitter, we can be on YouTube, we can talk to people, we can do all this stuff, we can spend the rest of our life doing that. And we're only going to ever touch a tiny, tiny percentage of the people out there, right? And,
no, you're right.
Unfortunately, you're right.
So, I mean, there is another solution. I tell you, every time I smart summon my car, I make a sale. So we need to start smart summoning our cars in dealerships where people are buying.
They'll kick us out, dude. No, I know what you're saying, but
yeah, like I don't want to be a big table pounding guy, but you know.
I agree with Anthony. The bigger picture definitely is government. Now, obviously, there'll be on the other side of the coin. There are going to be people saying, "I don't want big government. I want government to stay." I get that, right? To some extent, I get that, but on a small part, we can all do our part. And like I said, we're the converted, so we're almost talking to ourselves by this. But which brings me to the topic of a quick little plug here: the unofficial Tesla Club that a few of us here have started up. And when we all got together and we brainstormed about this, we didn't want it to be just another club with another meetup of just Tesla people, all with like-minded stuff, which is great, don't get me wrong, but we wanted to make it a little different. Correct me if I'm wrong, right, Franklin? We wanted to make it where we can get people from the outside the EV world into the EV world, whether it's Tesla or whatever. And that's what we're trying to work on this summer and get the club going. And I forget the URL. You want somebody want to plug the URL?
The unofficial.ca. Yeah.
The unofficial.ca.
We have some crazy ideas to incorporate people that have no idea about EVs and try to get them involved, and we have some really obscure events upcoming that we're working on in the background. We actually got to start posting.
February 28th, Franklin.
we gotta get on that. I've been sick, Mark.
We're gonna throw axes at short sellers or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, there's some really cool ideas involving all sorts of different features and getting other groups involved. And when I say groups, I mean like non-Tesla groups, people that never thought, you know, an EV can do or a Tesla can do what it can do, right? So a lot of fun stuff planned.
Okay, quickly, we're just going to touch on this. I wasn't even going to bring this topic up, but Franklin sort of referred to it, so I feel compelled to. But we're only going to talk about it for a couple of minutes. No, don't be sorry, because I wanted to bring it up, but we just went long on the other topics, and I want to squeeze in some viewer questions and listener questions that I've been promised since episode 1. We've got a few that I want to get to, and we only have about 15 minutes left. So this next topic, we were talking about electrification and stuff like that, and charging. And this topic here, Electrify America. Tell me what you guys think about this. Electrify America completed 400 EV charging installs at their stations, almost twice as fast as Tesla did with their superchargers when they did their rollout. So
yeah, but to me, this is, I mean, you know, I'm just going to be blunt. This is another stupid electric car.
Because they had to do, they were forced to do it.
But I mean, what they're saying in here is that they're saying, you know, they've, in 2 years, Electrify America rolled out more stations than Tesla did in the first 2 years of them deploying the supercharger network. But like, when the hell did that start? Like 2012? So, I mean, well, yeah, of course they didn't deploy as many stations between 2012 and 2014 as Electrify America did between 2018 and 2020. But I mean, how many stations has Tesla rolled out in between 2018 and 2020? Right?
Yeah. No, there was actually a number in the earnings call about that. No, I get what you're saying. I think the reason I thought this was just fascinating and just worth a quick little discussion, only because, yes, I get what you're saying, Mark. What you were alluding to at the very beginning is that they were forced to, and trust me, nobody understands that more than me when it comes to that whole Dieselgate thing. But the fact that, let me pull that up again, the fact that they're actually doing it, and I'll be honest, they're actually doing a decent job of it. Now, whether these will stay free, or are they?
No, they're not free. No, they're not free.
They're free. Yeah, no, they're 33 cents. No, I'm thinking of Petro-Canada. How much are they, guys?
Yeah, Petro-Canada was free. Now you got to pay. These guys, you always had to pay. It's actually quite expensive, apparently.
I'm taking the
like a $5 startup fee, and then it goes like per minute.
Okay, I stand corrected.
So yeah, I'm taking the opposite path of some of your comments. I think it's a good thing. Like, I know they're forced to do it, but it is a good thing because people see more chargers. There's more options. People say, "Hey, I can actually travel here, travel there."
Exposure.
I'm not complaining about what they're doing. I think it's great. I mean, I think, you know, 400 is great. 800 would be better. I mean, like, the more the merrier, right? I mean, no, these don't work with Teslas natively, but, you know, it's good, right? I mean, if you're driving a non-Tesla EV and there's 400 more charging stations all across the United States, and that's a good thing, right? My criticism of the article is that the article is kind of bullshit, right? Just because, you know, the whole premise of the article is, well, they rolled out more stations in 2 years than Tesla did like 8 years ago. you know, but it's like, okay, so what?
Yeah, they didn't not
you know?
even have to go there. They just said, "Oh, we put out 400." End of story.
Yeah.
Why?
Whose article?
I mean, like,
we put out.
It has nothing to do with
was it?
Tesla, right? Electric, of course.
Oh, okay, never mind. Okay, let's just continue on.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I just wanted to touch bases on that a little bit, and I didn't want to really.
No, I think it's good. I mean, you know, like I said, I think it's a good thing. The more chargers that are out there, the more visibility, the more awareness, the more everything. It's good, right? I just think the article is stupid.
It's the same.
The
We talked about
premise
the
of
subject before. Everyone is okay with gas because they see a gas station everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you see more chargers, they'll be like, "Oh, wait, hey, maybe I can get."
I don't think we're gonna have chargers like gas stations though. Eventually, they're just gonna be
we
wherever
don't
you're
need
going.
it.
They're gonna be wherever you're going. Like
You only need it along the way. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you charge at home, you charge at your destination, but when you're driving on the way, then you need the chargers there. And I think that's where you're going to see most of the fast chargers in the long run is along, you know, major transportation routes, right? And
Either that or like places around the routes, right? Because it doesn't make sense to have like. Why would you have a gas station? You don't need a charger at a gas
Well,
station.
I mean, you'll have them in places where it makes sense to put them. For example, like, you know, if you're going to, you know, drive around Arizona and you want to go see the Grand Canyon, well, yeah, it would probably make sense to have some fast chargers in, you know, the you know, or, you know, near the park somewhere, right?
Yeah.
So people can park and charge and all that stuff. But, you know,
You want to
like
jump to the questions now? Time-wise?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we got about 10 minutes left, and like I said at the very beginning when I started off this podcast 2 weeks ago on episode 1, I said I wanted to get more of the listeners and the viewers and the subscribers involved in it. And since episode 1, I got a couple questions, and then I put out a tweet today, and I put out some stuff on Facebook to see if anyone had any questions, and remarkably, I got quite a bit. So I'm only, if I didn't get to your question, if you put a question out in the last couple of weeks or even today, and I haven't gotten to it in this one, rest assured I'll do my best to get it out next week or the week after. But just one from that I actually did some homework on, so that's why I want to bring it up. One that sort of came up in the first week was on Facebook. A guy named Matt LeClaire. He was wondering, because he lives out in BC, and he was wondering about the winter package, those mud guards, and he was wondering why, he was saying, they get winter too, and he's wondering why, and why Tesla didn't give it to BC, and if they were going to get them, and if there was any chances, and he wanted to see if I could look into it. So what I do,
There's a reason for that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll tell you reason I heard, and then you can tell me, Mark, what you heard. I picked up the phone and I called. What location? It was some location in, I want to say Vancouver. I'm pretty sure it was Vancouver. It was a sales center, and I spoke to the guy in parts. Very nice guy. I don't think he gave me any bad information, so I don't think I have any problem saying his name. But just err on the safe side, so I won't say his name. But very nice guy. He understood. I explained to him that I'm just curious. I don't live in BC, but I'm just curious why they don't. And in a nutshell, he basically told me that, yeah, they don't right now because their weather is a little milder than the other provinces in the country. But eventually, he suspects, and he was very clear that he said he didn't know this from any inside source, or nothing was confirmed or correct, but he assumed that eventually in a few months, or maybe, I guess in a few months, it might be too late, so basically next year, that it will include BC. And he even went as far as say it'll include northern states that have even more winter than some of us here in southern Ontario. So that's what he said. Now, hopefully that answers your question, Matt, if you're listening. You heard something different, or you heard something along the same lines?
I thought it was because they're not allowed after sale incentives like freebies.
Yeah, and that's the whole referral program with the kilometers too, right?
Yeah.
Now, I heard that too originally when the whole program came up, probably a couple months ago now. But then someone easily said, someone gave a good answer and said they could easily say, okay, you know what? They're 10 cents.
It's a
$1 or something.
It's $1 for it, or whatever minimum they have to charge. But Tesla never thought of that. Why? It's only Ontario right now, right?
No, it's all of Canada except BC.
Yeah, it started off in Ontario, and I think it went Ontario and Quebec, and then it moved out to all of them, but very quickly, within days. But you know what? while we're on this topic of mudguards, the Tesla winter package,
may I?
You may.
Matt LeClaire, if you get in touch with Bailey or myself, I have a set for you.
Well, this is what I was gonna say. Yeah.
There you go.
Actually, I don't have a set. I have a free set that I'm eligible for to pick up. And last time I was at the service center in Oakville, I didn't pick it up. But I didn't pick it up because I felt I had no need for it, and I didn't want it. And this is what brings me to my second point, folks. We could sit here and say, yeah, why BC doesn't have it, and why the other provinces have it, and why some of the northern states don't have it. Also, you know what though? I'll be the first to say, and I'll admit when Tesla's wrong. Call me a fanboy, and I'm self-admittedly a fanboy. But at the same time, I'll say when I think Tesla screwed up. And in this case, I think they screwed up to put out such a poor product that doesn't fit well, from all accounts, from what I've seen, and to put out a product that only fits on the front, and they don't give you 4. They only give you 2. They don't give you 2 for the back. I think is ridiculous. So my advice to you.
I agree fully. I did an install video when I got it.
Yeah,
and
I was going to say.
A lot of people were complaining that I messed up the install. And I followed the steps, but hold up. Hear me out.
Those people complaining was Mark.
Moss and I went to the service center the same day, and I compared my...
Oakville. That's your first problem.
I went to the service center. We saw the one in the showroom, and my install and theirs were identical.
Oakville is a great service center.
Yeah, and... We compared mine to Moss's aftermarket. His aftermarket was like night and day better.
They are.
Just like what Dax said. I mean, you know, I think all of us, maybe except Mark, have third-party mud flaps on our cars already. And I mean, you know what?
Except
it's $30, right? Okay.
That's my point. That's my point.
You know, you can get the BougeRV ones. You can get the what's that other Basenor?
Basenor.
I mean, there's 2 or 3 companies on Amazon that are selling these things. They're $30. Right? I mean, come on, like $30, really? If you don't,
Anthony, these are free.
Yeah, but if you can't spend $30 on mudguards, then I mean, you really don't want them that much, right? But,
yeah, no, I agree with Anthony.
The free ones are fine. I mean, they're free, but you know, I got a box in the basement. They're not going on my car, you know, and you know that's because A, they kind of look like crap. B, there's nothing for the back, so it just makes it look weird. And I've also got third-party ones on there already, but I mean, they're $30. Right? Just go spend $30, get some mudguards, put them on the car. Takes you 30 minutes, and you're done. Right? You got protection on the front and the back, and just don't worry about it. Right? I mean, if you live in BC, order them off Amazon. You're going to be happier, and that's it.
And that was my point. That was my whole point to bring this up and to answer Matt's question. Was at the end of the day, if you're out in BC or out in one of these northern places, they're free. Yeah, they're free, but you can get them for $30. They're probably even less in the States.
Yeah.
Okay.
People say you get what you pay for, and if you don't pay for them, then you know.
Okay,
that's what you get.
Again, I'm sticking to my word here. If Matt wants them, I will send it to him. You just send the information to Dax.
Yes. Okay, moving on. I got some questions because I posted this thing in my Tesla Model Y Canadian group, and you guys can. There's a bunch of questions here. I'll just go by them like 30 seconds at a time, and you guys can shout out your answers. And I think actually some of this was already answered in our conversation about the Model Y earlier in the podcast. Wow. Sheldon asked, what is the expected release date for the long-range rear-wheel drive and 7-seater option? Okay, so we talked about the long-range rear-wheel drive. The 7-seater option, I know they said 2021. Did they say
something like that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Later.
And
with
like last quarter.
Yeah, with or without small kids, would you guys even recommend anyone getting the 7-seater?
No.
Save your
unless you're putting
$5,000,
children. Yeah, like unless
them
like
in the frunk.
Yeah, I've had, you know, I had a BMW X5 a few years ago, and it had that third row. And I mean, swear to God, if you're more than about 8 or 9 years old, you're not fitting back there. So
that's what I'm saying. Yep.
You know, if you got small kids or hobbits, you're good. Otherwise, no, just don't bother.
Hobbits,
you know, hobbits.
Okay, moving on. Let's do this fast round here. Scott, in that same vein, he wants to know about the Model Y. He currently lives in Toronto. He's changed his Model Y order from the rear-wheel drive to the all-wheel drive long range, and he wants to know, by him changing it, does this change his spot in line for delivery? Does anyone know?
I don't think so. Don't see why it would.
I don't think.
I mean, how do we even know there's a spot, right? I mean, you've ordered a car.
Their deliveries are based off where you live. If you live in California, you get it first. After that, it's just whatever they feel like.
It's a crapshoot.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, if it's anything like the Model 3 deliveries, yeah, it may be. Hopefully it is. I would like to think it isn't. But I think what he means is his spot line in regards to, say, the GTA people that ordered it. Yeah, we all know that California's going to get it, and then they're going to go up the coast and go over to the East Coast and stuff like that. I get that.
I think
he's going to get it sooner. Right?
Is that, like, when he placed his original order, maybe he was 715. He feels if he changed it, is now he, like 2,000 down the line. No, I think he's still 715.
Plus, he ordered an all-wheel drive, so he's going to get the car sooner, right?
Yes.
So, I mean, if anything, you've moved up in the line because, now you're ahead of all the people who still order the long range, and we don't know when that's coming. So,
and I guess that's his original question. Does he benefit by doing that, obviously getting it quicker, or did he just put himself to the bottom of the line? And I've heard some people ask about that too. Like, we don't know, we're assuming, but I
would guess he moved up because, like what Anthony said, he's getting the trim that they're going to make first, more than likely.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Plus, I mean, people have this concept like there's no line, right? I mean, you're just an order, right? So, I mean, your order will process.
Get to the back.
Yeah, you know what I mean. But it's not like there's a physical line somewhere of people waiting for these cars. I mean, you place an order. If you live in a certain area, then once they start shipping cars to that area, that's when your number is going to come up, right? But I mean, like, because he's saying he switched from a rear-wheel drive to all-wheel drive, he's going to get it sooner, because they're going to produce all-wheel drive first, right?
I think I got to move to California in 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, obviously California. California's going to get it first. U.S. is going to get it first, right? But although maybe not, because now with the incentives, the U.S. The tax incentive is done now for Tesla. So who knows? Maybe they'll. Yeah, who knows?
Moving along, Angelo's got a question. He lives in the GTA, and he's wondering. Now, once again, this is one of these crystal ball questions. He's wondering, when will the GTA see their first orders? Or deliveries, is I think what he means.
Of the Y?
Of the Y. This is all talking about the Y, yeah.
We just saw it. It was driving around Toronto. I keep hearing reports of it.
No, they're saying mid 2020 on the website. So
yeah, okay. And
so, I mean, mid to late, probably second to third quarter, calendar quarter, I would think.
He's wondering how many pre-orders do you think there are? Oh, you're actually making a number, eh? June 4th.
June 4th. June 4th. You heard it here. June 4th.
I get what you're doing there. I get what you're doing. Okay. And then I think there's one more. Just bear with me here. Well, he was also wondering, while we're talking about it, he was wondering about something else. Hold on.
I know there's one.
So we can't see them.
I know there's one question while you're pulling it up. On the first one, someone asked about the Energy app, how to use it. I have a fairly in-depth video of how to do it as well, just to throw it out there.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to bypass that one.
What is the Energy app? Are we talking?
Well, what
it says not in car.
What do you mean?
It says there's an Energy app that is not in the car.
I mean, maybe they're talking about the Tesla app for solar.
Possibly. Okay.
I mean, if you have a solar install, then your Tesla app also has a separate screen for your energy generation, right?
Okay, well, if that's what he was talking about, if he's talking about that, I can't answer that question. If he was talking about the energy section in the cars, in the Model 3 and the S and the X, then yeah, I would strongly refer you to go watch Franklin's video. Yeah.
Mother Frunker.
And we're gonna get one more question, and then at the end of this, we're gonna plug all our sites and let these people get out of here, because we're already at a minute. Over an hour, or an hour and 3 minutes. Okay, so last question here is from Vincent. He's got a question about DC fast charging, and he keeps confusing me when he puts DCFC and battery degradation. My understanding, and this is him talking, my understanding is that it's the heat generated from the DCFC that is bad, quote unquote, bad for the battery. But he's wondering, if you use it in the winter, when the ambient temperature is lower and stuff like that, does it offset the heat generated, and is it better, and is it prolong the battery life? because he's wondering, because he lives in a condo and of course he doesn't have easy access to level 1 or level 2 charging. So I guess his main thing is going to be supercharging or DC fast charging. So does anyone know here on the panel? Does anyone know if using it in the winter offsets it? I mean, I know what the first thing you guys are going to say is that it's going to slow it down, and we all know that. Hopefully Vincent knows. But is it going to do anything better for the battery pack?
I wouldn't think so. I mean, because even though it's cold outside, the battery's still really hot when you're charging, right? So, I don't think the ambient temperature outside is going to affect what's going on inside the battery. I mean, I've heard the same thing. Like I've heard Tesla say, or not Tesla say, but I've heard it said that repeatedly supercharging the car over an extended period of time will cause faster battery degradation than if you're using level 1 or level 2 charging. But I don't think the ambient temperature at the time of charge is going to have any effect on that.
I kind of agree with you, Anthony, because yes, I'm getting
this guy here.
Yes, Anthony, because Tesla regulates their battery pack so well and so precisely with their BMS. They manage it so well that, yeah, it could be minus 40 out, it could be minus 10, and I'm talking Celsius here, folks, or it could be plus 30 out, and they do their best, and they take a lot of time and energy to make sure that pack is regulated and within a perfect, I guess, span of temperature range.
I think he should use Marvel charging instead of DC charging. It might be better.
Okay, and that's what that comment there will bring us to the end of this podcast. Anthony, do you have anything to say to plug yourself and say to the listeners before you head out?
No, thanks for inviting me on. Yeah. Thanks for inviting me on. I appreciate it. Be happy to come back again. I know I get a bit verbose sometimes, and I can be the grumpy old man, but that's I am.
If you use big words like verbose again, you're not coming back on.
Use TeslaMilton on Tesla Bros.
I'm TeslaMilton on. Hey, come on now. Stop it. I'm TeslaMilton on Twitter. So that TeslaMilton, just put the @ symbol in front of my name, and you're good to go. I have a YouTube channel, but because I don't have enough subscribers, I can't tell you what the URL is because it's some very long combination of letters and numbers. But if you search for TeslaMilton on YouTube, you'll find that I occasionally post videos, but not as often as my compatriots here.
Yes. No, very, very good educational, very entertaining YouTube channel. And you're very active on Twitter. Any question you have regarding EVs, especially Tesla, Anthony can answer. And especially if it's Southern Ontario related question. Mark,
yes, sir.
You got your finger up there. Where can people find you, and what do you have to tell people this week?
Well, fairly simple. Tesla Backseat Baller, and what I have to say is I hit 100K and keep going strong. And here's to the next 100K.
Kilometers, not subscribers. Sorry.
Oh yeah. When are we going to see that video? I'm sure there's a video.
Yeah, still working on it because I've been sick too. So I still have the draw to do. I promised a draw that I was going to do on Sunday, but then the Super Bowl. And same thing, I've still been very under the weather. And my daughter was here. She had that surgery. So I apologize for being behind.
And last but not least, Mr. Mother Frunker. Franklin, where can and you're so active everywhere. Where can people find you?
Just type Mother Frunker in any social platform except for Facebook. I mean, I'm on there too, but it's automatic. Twitter, yeah. I'm on Instagram. Don't use it that often. YouTube, pretty much anywhere. So yeah. Mother Frunker.
And when can we expect a new video from you? And don't say like in 5 minutes.
This week. I'll start posting more videos this week, definitely. I have some good ones I've been working on, and yeah. Can I sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, do you mind if I mention last night's experiment that we tried?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
We Franklin had an awesome idea while Super Bowl was fresh in everyone's minds and everything. He was going to do, and we actually did it. Mark and I, along with Franklin, it was Franklin's idea, and he hosted it. And we went through many, if not all, many of the Super Bowl commercials, and Franklin did all the research and got all the amount of money it costs for each Super Bowl commercial and everything. And it was fun. It was 10, 15 minutes long, and we had a good, healthy discussion about it, and it couldn't be posted.
It got flagged on YouTube for copyright content, and that was last night. And then today I was messing around with a live stream with the Tesla stock, and that one got flagged for copyright stuff. So it's been a fun 24 hours on YouTube.
Yeah. But you're still here. Sorry,
Yeah.
what were you going to say before I interrupted you?
I was going to say, can I mention someone random in the community? Like just a random shout out? So
yeah,
I'll try doing these weekly. I'm going to start with an obvious one. If you guys aren't on Twitter, check out 28 Delays Later. Earl, he's the guy who started Frunk Puppy. Posts really good content, a lot of content. If you're not on Twitter, just pop on Twitter and check out his content. But I want to try doing these weekly, just mentioning someone doing good for the community. But yeah, I'll start off with Earl because I think he's like one of the best people you can follow.
I would love to get, and not that anything is wrong with you guys. I love you guys, but I would love to get different people. And I'm been in the works of getting different people on as guest speakers or hosts or co-hosts, however you want to say it. And Earl is one guy I'd like to get on. Yeah, Raj, we're getting you eventually.
Listen,
Raj and I have been in the background.
Raj,
if you kick me off for Raj or Earl or pretty much anyone, I won't feel upset. Like, I'll understand.
Yeah. I won't be kicking you off, guys.
When Elon comes on the podcast, I'm going to come to your house, Dax.
Yeah. Well, he'll be here, so yeah. Elon will not be coming on the podcast anytime soon, folks. But anyways, yeah, you never know. You never know. Thanks, folks, for watching. What I forgot to mention after we did the questions and everything, if you have any questions whatsoever, Tesla related, or even EV related, yeah, leave it down in a comment below here of this video or any of the other videos, other episode podcasts, or in any of the social media platforms that we've just spoken about. I could be found exactly where these guys said they could be found, under the same name. I go for everything Tesla Talks. And you have a question, just tell me, hey, can you answer this question on your next podcast? And like I said, I'll do our best to get it on fresh, like the next or that current week or the next week. But if it's a week or two down the line, just bear with me. That's all I ask.
And make sure to like this video, do subscribe to Tesla Talks, and yeah.
Thank you very much.
I'm giving you the shout out.
Remember to get your pet spayed and neutered.
Speaking of fresh, didn't you know?
Thanks, Bob. Yes. Thanks, guys. Folks, we'll see you later. Goodbye. We'll see you next week. Next week I should have one. I know I said I might not have one this week, but I scrambled and we worked it out. So next week I should have one, but if I don't, we'll have one in a couple weeks. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye. Yeah.